Hey babe, welcome to By the Hour, where we chat and reflect and keep your vibe in check. And this is the first episode. Woo! I am so excited. Honestly, I've been wanting to do a podcast for ever. And I don't know, I'm just a bit of a procrastinator. And I was like, okay, it's a new year. I've got to do it. And so I put it out there on TikTok and I was like, do you know what? Let me just put it out there and say that I'm going to do it. And here I am, finally recording my podcast. So welcome, welcome, welcome. This is so exciting for me. I just feel like a new person. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't really have the words to describe how I feel, but I'm just so glad that I'm finally doing it. I'm the kind of person, when I put something out there, especially on my TikTok or on socials, I have to do it. So I'm finally doing it. So yes, this is By the Hour. And first of all, I want to know, what do you guys think of the name? Because it took me a while to decide, what to call the podcast. I was like, does By the Hour sound okay? I was going through like so many different names. At first, I wanted to call it An Hour with Hour, but then I was like, what if I run over an hour? Like, I like to overthink things. But, I sort of wanted it to be like a play on my name. And, growing up, everyone used to say to me, oh, were you named after the time? And I was like, no. So, and I used to not really like my name. And I was like, do you know what? Let me embrace it. Let me create a name that's sort of, I don't know, that's unique, that's not, out there already, and that really fits me. And so I was like, let me just call it By the Hour. So it's like, I don't even know what it means. It's just like a play on the time, hour. But anyways, this podcast, honestly, for me is just going to be like my safe space, my safe haven, and like a safe space for everyone else. And I really wanted to create a community and a place where I can just talk about anything and, help you guys with your dilemmas and everything. So By the Hour essentially is a place where I'd love to talk about, relationships, whether it's like platonic, romantic, with family. I really want to talk about, things to do with pop culture because, I don't really discuss pop culture on my TikTok. But I'm still in the know. I know what's going on and everything. So I sort of want to like touch on those topics here and there. I want to talk about mental health. Mental health means so much to me. Like, it's so important for me to advocate when it comes to mental health and like my own mental health journey, as you guys probably know. I've shared so much on my TikTok when it comes to, my journey with depression and being on antidepressants and anxiety, and I'm pretty open when it comes to that stuff. And I really want to bring all of that here because I feel like I'll be able to talk about it in more detail and, people can like submit stories or questions or anything, that you guys want me to discuss. So I definitely want to use this platform to advocate for mental health, to put it out there, to be more open, because I feel like a lot of people sort of like, dance around the subject and like touch on it briefly. But for me, I'm very open, and I guess my openness sometimes has like made me feel a bit vulnerable. And I was going to say put me in trouble, but I've never been in trouble. I think it's more just like a cultural thing of like family asking me, why would you talk about this? Why would you put this out there? And it's like, why not? There's so many people who struggle with their mental health, and I'm very open about it. And if I can speak about my experiences and if other people can relate, that's, I feel like I've done my duty, if that makes sense. So definitely want to touch on that. I definitely want to talk about women's health as well, because as you guys know, I was diagnosed with endometriosis just under a year ago. I was diagnosed in March of last year. And then I also had my laparoscopy in October. And it has honestly been such a journey that I'm still processing myself, if I'm being honest. And I'm still sort of like going through, I guess one could say like post-op experiences and all of that. Like, I'm still healing. I'm still trying to understand my body post-op and everything. So I definitely want to touch on that. And of course, I want to get some guests on. I have so many people in mind that I think would be amazing to put on my platform to have a discussion with. And yeah, like I just love to support other people, especially women, especially Black women as well, because I'm not sure if our voices are heard enough, especially when it comes to like podcasting and everything. And like, I watch so many podcasts on YouTube, like from Madam Joyce to the Uncut podcast. Sometimes I watch the receipts and everything, and it's so lovely to see them thriving. And, I don't know what the future holds for me, where my podcast will go, but for me, I'm just doing it because I enjoy it. So yeah, I definitely want to like invite some guests on and everything. I'm just so excited. I have like so many ideas for segments, and, I've sort of done all of this alone in a way. That's just how I am. I'm very independent. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to like, produce it and write scripts and all this stuff. And, I've got a shoot as well in 2 days, which I'm very, very excited for. So I'm taking this seriously. I'm taking it seriously. But without further ado, there is one thing that I definitely want to introduce when it comes to this podcast, and that's the word of the day. Now, when it comes to the word of the day, I just want to, I don't know, it's sort of like, I could either like come up with a word of like how I'm feeling when it comes to emotions, or just like a random word. So today's word of the day is unapologetic. So one of the lines, for my brand, By the Awa, is unapologetically me, cherry picked just for you. And I wanted to pick unapologetic because I feel like that really summarizes who I am and really summarizes what I've been through over the past year and a bit. Just being unapologetically me and not being afraid to be vulnerable and be my true authentic self. Now, anyone who knows me knows I've always been comfortable with my personality and who I am, I guess as a human being. And of course, I've had moments where I felt like very, I don't know, insecure, vulnerable, kind of like, I don't want to say like ashamed of my uniqueness and quirkiness, but like I have been made to feel like I shouldn't be as weird or unique, and obviously when you're young and when you go through that sort of stuff, it's very intimidating. It makes you feel as though maybe I should conform, maybe I should be like everyone else. And even though I've had those thoughts before, I've never actually succumbed to that. I've always walked to the beat of my own drum. Anyone who knows me knows that I do my thing. I don't follow the crowd. Of course, I'm like inspired by people, and, I was going to say I may keep up with trends, but not always. Not always. Like I said, I would say I definitely do walk to the beat of my own drum. And that is very important for me. And I'm the kind of person, I don't like it when people box me in, when people try to, I don't know, like, I'm just me. And so I just decided to pick the word unapologetic because for the past year and a half, I have been true to myself. I have been unapologetically Awa, and that's why I chose that line for By the Awa, because I just feel like it's so me, and I feel like it just summarizes me as a whole. Like I don't know, I'm just trying to find the words. Like, I'm just literally just thinking about everything that I've been through the past year, and of course I've shared some of these things on TikTok and I will like touch on them here, but yeah, being unapologetic is so important to me. It's, something that I stand by. I've always stood by that. Like, I'm not afraid to be myself. I'm not afraid to speak my voice, like to be open, to be vulnerable. And I think I noticed my uniqueness and me wanting to be my authentic self when I was in secondary school. Like, I think it was like year 8. And I remember like back then I was like really into like Motown music for some reason. It's pretty random, but I was listening to the Four Tops. I was listening to Smokey Robinson, Diana Ross, like Marvin Gaye. And I remember like my friends were like, why do you listen to this sort of music? I was like, I don't know, I just enjoy it. And that stems from like when I was younger, a family friend of mine, which I refer to as my godfather, like he was our neighbor and he used to live upstairs and he would leave his door open. And so like I would like crawl up the stairs and you would hear all this music playing like from Marvin Gaye to Bob Marley to The Police to Michael Jackson to even Malian music as well, and Senegalese music, which, you know, I grew up listening to. And so I always had this like eclectic taste when it comes to music because of that. And so I grew up listening to all sorts of music, and I just thought it was normal. And so when I got to secondary school and everyone was like, "Rah, like, why are you listening to that sort of music?" I was like, doesn't everyone? Apparently not. And so that's when I realized, I was like, oh, okay, I'm a bit different. I didn't think it was a bad thing, but I did have moments where I was like, oh, maybe I'm a bit weird. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should listen to what everyone else listens to. And of course, like, I do listen to pop music. I listen to what is popular, per se. And that's why I would say I have like this eclectic taste when it comes to music. And then I would say music is the one thing that I really, really resonate with. It's literally my first love, but that's what opened me up to just being my authentic self and not being afraid. And so, yeah, I've just always stood in my own space, in my own aura, field, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, that's why I chose the word unapologetic today. By the way, your girl has ADHD, so I might ramble, I might forget about what I'm talking about, but hey, that's the essence of this podcast. We just talk about anything. So unapologetic, yes, that is that is me. And yeah, so that's something I really want to introduce every episode. I will, you know, come in and be like, hey, the word of the day is, you know, and yeah, I feel great. I feel really confident. I feel like inspired. I'm just so glad that I'm finally following my dreams, chasing my dreams, pursuing everything that I've always wanted to do. You know, I think, you know, I've had a tough life. I'm not going to lie. Your girl has been through it, especially over the past year and a bit. But don't worry, we're going to dive into it today. Like, gosh, I'm just so grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be able to do all of this. I turned 27 a few days ago. Oh, God. 27. I do have, you know, a good feeling about 27. I feel like it's going to bring me a lot of joy and a lot of success. And, you know, life isn't without its ups and downs, of course. And I recognize that. But I have a really good feeling about 27. Usually when it comes to my birthday, I don't celebrate it. I always get the birthday blues, but this year I didn't get them. I was like, oh, I've definitely changed a new leaf. I've turned a new leaf. I was like, okay. So that's what makes me feel confident that this year and this new age is going to bring me so much joy, you know? So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to, you know, what the universe has in store for me. I'm looking forward to, you know, trying different things, because I have always been someone who has been afraid of like stepping out of my comfort zone. And I would say me jumping on TikTok helped me to be more confident, because, you know, I think whenever people think about social media, it's like, well, you're at home, you're, you know, in the comfort of your own space, like in front of the camera, like no one's there. Well, that's if that's how you know, approach content creation. But somehow it did help my confidence. I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. I can actually, you know, create content that people enjoy. I can talk confidently to the camera. I can work with brands and I understand like their vision and everything. And it really helped me with my self-esteem and my confidence. And I just owe it to so many people who, you know, champion me, cheer me on. Like anytime I post, you know, on TikTok, like I always have people who support me. Like I see the same names as well. And I'm just like, wow, you guys have been here from the beginning. So yeah, feeling very, very good. Very good. But let's get into it. So I've got my trusty phone here so that I can keep track of my agenda, because like I said, I have ADHD. I will literally forget what I'm talking about. So I wanted to get into my journey so far. So if you guys didn't know, I started out posting on TikTok in August of 2023. Why did I start posting? Well, I've always wanted to be a content creator. And if you guys didn't know, I've touched on it briefly. I attempted to create YouTube videos, like, I think 10 years ago now. I think my first video I posted in like 2014, if I'm not mistaken. I was shy and I deleted everything. And I still have that content and I haven't watched it in years, but I know I was so shy. I remember just setting up my camera. I got a camera secondhand online and I bought a tripod, I bought a mic, I didn't have great lighting. All I remember, like the sun was going down and like it just started to get darker and I was like, oh no. But I still posted it. And people loved it. And I believe I was at sixth form at this point, if I'm not mistaken. My brain, honestly, it's been a long time. And I just remember I posted it and then the next day I went to school and I went into the study room and everyone was watching the video and I just felt so shy. I was so anxious. It made me feel so vulnerable. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And I left it up for a couple of days, I believe. And then I posted another one and I can't remember. I think I was telling a story. I don't even remember what the story was. I think it was a story of like, so when I was young, sorry, I just remember this. When I was young, I was an extra on Footballers' Wives. Now, this was random. So my best friend at the time, I used to go to her house early in the morning before primary school because she lived across the road from school. And so my mum used to drop me every morning. And then one morning, my mum dropped me off and then her mum was like, my best friend, she said, oh, she's going to be an extra on Footballers' Wives because they're filming at the school. Does Awa want to be a part of it? And at this point, I wanted to do anything creative. I wanted to sing, I wanted to dance, I wanted to act, I wanted to do everything. And so when this opportunity came, I was like, Mom, please, can I do it? And my mum was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like she was on her way to work. So she signed the consent forms and release form and whatever. And so it was time for us to go across the road to school. And so this film crew was there, everyone was there, the actors, actresses and whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be famous. I'm going to go to Hollywood. I was so naive. I was an extra and they put me in the back with another girl. I said, cool, noted. I can't remember how old I was. I think this was like 2005, 2006. So I would have been 7 or 8. Anyways, I was excited. I was like, cool, I'm going to be on TV. But either way, they put us in the back. I said, whatever, I'm going to make myself known. What did I go and do? So when they started rolling, I decided I was going to do a cartwheel. So I did a cartwheel. I just said, oh no. I ripped my trousers. I ripped my school trousers and I was so embarrassed. And thank God I was in the back. I was happy then. Obviously at first I was like, oh no, I want to be center. I want to be in the front and whatever. But as soon as I heard that noise, I said, cool. It's probably good that I'm in the back. So I ripped my trousers. And then the whole day I had to, when you take off your jumper and you tie it around your waist, I had to walk around with my jumper around my waist because I ripped my trousers. So yeah. Gosh. That was an interesting time. So yeah, that was the story that I told on my YouTube. And I can't remember how long I left that video up for. I don't think it was for long, but the reason why I ended up deleting all of my videos was because I was anxious. But then also, I don't know if you guys remember back in the day where you could link your socials to your Facebook. So this was in the era where everyone was using Facebook, right? So I think that was my main platform. And my YouTube was linked to my Facebook. So anytime I uploaded, it will go straight to Facebook. And I was like, yeah, whatever, cool. I've got all my friends on there. I've got some family members, but I don't think they're going to see it. So I've posted my first video. And in that video, I did I think 5 facts about me, similar to what I did on my first YouTube channel recently. And I think in one of the facts, I think at this point, oh, hold on a minute. No, how old was I? I had to have been 18. Yes, I was 18. Okay, cool. The reason why I remember is because I had my first tattoo. So I have roses on my forearm and that was my first tattoo and it was massive. Now, Again, a bit of background about me. I'm Gambian, and most people from Gambia are Muslim. So I was raised as a Muslim. Now, if you know anything about Islam or being a Muslim, tattoos, you don't do tattoos, right? But I went to do it. I will get into that, in a later episode when it comes to religion and everything, but I'm no longer a Muslim, right? So I was 18. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a tattoo. Went to go get it. That was one of the facts that I put in the video. I was like, oh, I've got this tattoo. So I showed it. Now, I uploaded this video. It went to my Facebook. I have an uncle on Facebook. And I didn't know that he was using his Facebook, but I soon found out, because why did I get a call from Gambia from my grandmother, or my mum got the call? And my grandma was livid. She said, what has your daughter done? She's marked her body. She's sold herself to the devil, this, and the third. And I said, how does my grandma know that? Turns out my uncle went to go snitch to my grandma, and my grandma was heartbroken. She said, how could you? Why would you get a tattoo? Why is it so big? Blah, blah, blah. And at this point in my life, I was so timid. I was so... anytime my family members, whether it was my mom or uncles, aunties, like anytime they would say stuff to me, I just wanted peace. So I was like, you know what? Cool. I'm going to delete this. I'm just going to delete the video, diffuse the situation. Obviously, I can't get rid of the tattoo. It's permanent. And I sort of knew that my grandma had to live with that, right? But I was like, you know what? Cool. I'm deleting everything. So I deleted everything. I was fuming at my uncle. I was just like, why? Like, I just sort of, obviously I knew they would find out at some point that I had a tattoo, but I was like, at least let me get my YouTube moving, and then they will understand what I'm trying to achieve, and then I can explain. But I was just like, you know what? I want peace, not problems. So I deleted it. Anyways, so, for years after that, like, I remember buying a new camera. I went to Amsterdam a few times and I was vlogging. Like, I had all of this footage. I think this was like 2017, 2018. And I had all of this vlogging footage. And I remember going to Wireless when it was popping. Like, I had so much content. I never put it out because I was so shy. I was so self-conscious and so afraid of what people would think about me. And I was a perfectionist. I just wanted everything to be right. I wanted it to be perfect. And yeah, I just never ended up posting. So for years, I was toying with the idea. I was like, oh, maybe I should post now. Maybe this is the right time. Maybe da-da-da-da. And I was just like, nah, I don't feel confident. So yeah, I think I launched my YouTube channel in 2014, but I started posting in 2016 because, like I said, I was 18. So from 18 up until I'm 27 now, so almost 10 years, I've been toying with the idea of like posting online. Now, when it comes to me posting on TikTok, the reason why I started posting was because I went through a awful breakup. Awful breakup that really, really destroyed me. It destroyed my self-esteem. The timing couldn't have been worse because at the time, 2 months prior, I had just moved out on my own. So imagine, doing that whole upheaval, like moving your whole life from chaos, from my family home to, being the eldest daughter, looking after my siblings, to finally getting the opportunity to live on my own and have peace and be fully independent. And then 2 months later, to find out that someone that I thought I loved and someone that I thought I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, finding out that they weren't loyal and they weren't faithful to me, and finding out in the worst way, and having to deal with that on my own, in my own space, and not on my own like entirely, because obviously I had my friends, I had my family, which I am so grateful for, but it destroyed me, and I felt like I needed an outlet because I wouldn't say I was losing my mind, but I was losing myself. Like, in fact, I lost myself. I lost myself in that relationship. I lost myself post-breakup. Like, for months, I was devastated. Gosh, even just thinking about it just breaks my heart. But, even when I was in that relationship, I remember telling my ex that I really wanted to start posting online. I wanted to be creative again because my outlet or my first love was music, right? So for years I'd been working on this EP and I was just stalling, and I still haven't put it out. Still haven't put it out, which I will. I'm going to put it out this year, I promise. I always wanted to put myself out there, but I was so afraid. I was so scared. But then the breakup happened, and I think I posted my first video, like, I think maybe a week after my breakup. And it was just like, what was it? I think I need to go back to my TikTok. If I'm not mistaken, I believe my first TikTok was a video where I said POV, the eldest daughter finally moves out or something like that. And it was just like a quick, I think it was under 10 seconds video or something of my old bedroom. So how it was before and then my stuff packed. And that got so many views within minutes. And I was like, oh my God. I was so overwhelmed. I was so scared. I was like, what the fuck? Like, and that was literally, I want to say that was like literally a week after the breakup. And I had no intention of like posting regularly, but I was like, well, I've created this video and I've posted it now. Now I need to be consistent. So then I started posting. I didn't really know like what direction I wanted to take. If I'm being honest, I was stalling when it came to posting on TikTok. I was just like, I am so scared again of what people will think of me. I was afraid of being perceived. I didn't like the idea of being perceived. And I didn't like the idea of like not being in control of like how people receive me and how they perceive me. So that's what sort of stalled me when it came to posting on TikTok, because obviously during the pandemic, like TikTok was like booming, like people were like really taking off there. And for me, like I didn't want to be on socials to be somebody. I just wanted to create, literally. And so I used my breakup as an opportunity. Well, not my breakup itself, but I used that time as an opportunity to express myself and put myself out there. So yeah, I started posting, like it was random. I didn't really know what my niche was going to be. I think I was really overthinking that. I was like, what's my niche going to be? Like, I like beauty. I do makeup. I love skincare. Again, mental health is like a really huge thing for me. So I knew I was going to talk about that. I knew I wanted to speak about being an eldest daughter as well. That was like one of the main topics that I really wanted to talk about, because obviously I'd moved out of my like really toxic family home, and it was like full of chaos. And then I finally managed to get my own place. So I was like, oh yeah, I definitely want to speak about this. So, you know, I was like, okay, cool. There's like a lot of things that I can do. But prior to me posting, I was just like watching different, you know, videos of like, you know, creators like giving advice about, you know, how to navigate TikTok and being a content creator. And they were like, oh, you need to have a niche. You need to have a niche. And I was like, fuck a niche. I don't want to have a niche. I'm just going to post whatever I want. So that's what I did. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do a living room tour here. I'm going to do makeup. I'm going to talk about moving out. I was like, whatever sticks, sticks. I didn't really care. So I started posting, and then I was getting views and followers, and I'm not going to lie to you, it was really overwhelming. Really, really overwhelming. I was just like, I don't know what to do with this. And like even getting comments, and I remember my like one of the first videos that did really well. Well, it was my first video, but then the second one was I was doing like Home Alone videos, like not Home Alone, Living Alone diaries, like Living Alone videos. And I think my first one was like 2 months of living alone, and that did really well. And I was like, okay, people are really enjoying this content. So then I just started from there, and I was like, oh, I'm really enjoying this. Like I'm enjoying creating, editing, but then also telling my story. And then the next one that did really well was my breakup one. And I just remember that day, like I was devastated. And I won't lie to you, that day, the reason why I created that video was because I had just got back from meeting up with my ex's mum. Sorry, guys. I'm still on good terms with her. She's a lovely woman, and she just wanted to support me. And we had a great day, and she really helped me like during that, you know, period and everything. And I know like everyone has their like opinions on, being in contact with like an ex's parent or like family members or what have you. But I won't lie, I really needed it. So we'd gone out and I'd come back that day and I was just reflecting and I just felt this sense of like, I felt liberated in a way. Like I was still hurting, and I won't lie to you, my early videos, I can't even watch them because the last time I did, I could see the pain in my eyes and I could just see how like disconnected I was from my body, and it broke my heart. And I was just like, I never want to feel like that again. But that video, I was just vulnerable. It was just like word vomit. And that did so well. And I had so many people in my comments, in my DMs, being like, how did you get over it? How did you get through this? How are you getting through it? And I was like, I don't have the answers, but I can tell you that I've just allowed myself to feel. And from then onwards, I just continued just creating content, being vulnerable, sharing my story, sharing my experiences when it comes to my breakup, moving out, being the eldest daughter and everything. And it was just so nice to receive the support from so many people across the world. Like I have never experienced that before. And as open as I am, it helped me to realize that like when it comes to like my friends or in my personal life, I'm not as open as I thought I was. And that allowed me to express myself more. And through my TikTok and through my videos, my friends actually started to learn more about me as well. And they were like, oh, I didn't know that you've experienced this. I didn't know that that's how you were feeling. And it just really helped me to be more comfortable in my skin and not be afraid to be vulnerable. And of course, like being on socials, it comes with, so many things like support, but then also hate and negativity. And unfortunately, like I received, a bit of negativity, not much, if anything, 1%, like 99% of the comments were so positive. 1% was just people saying whatever they wanted to say. And that's another thing, like posting has helped me to be more, to have thicker skin, to have thicker skin. But yeah, that was the beginning of it, really, just needing an outlet because I was broken. Oh man, honestly, when I think about it, it just breaks my heart, like I said. But I persevered. I kept posting. I kept, coming up with all these different ideas. And eventually, like, brands started to reach out to me. And I was like, me? You want to work with, why? But I was so grateful. And through that, I started getting like paid collaborations and, again, because I have a really good eye and I'm quite a perfectionist as well. And I know what looks good. I know what works. Brands, I think they started to trust me. And I was like, oh, I can actually do this. And I know a lot of people like make a living from, content creation, whether it's on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, whatever platform. But I didn't think that I was going to do that on TikTok. I knew that you could do that on YouTube because I grew up in that era of like watching all these like YouTubers, vloggers, content creators, beauty gurus, and them getting all these like big brand deals and everything. But I didn't really think about it when it came to TikTok. Like I said, I was just on there as an outlet. And then when I realized that people were enjoying my content and they really valued my advice and everything, I was like, okay, cool. Like I can do this too. Like, and so, yeah, brands started to reach out to me and I was like, oh, this is amazing, And yeah, that's basically it. I just started creating content. Then I looked into UGC and I was like, okay, I can do this. And the rest is history, basically. And here I am where I'm launching my own podcast and I'm recording my first episode. And I've always wanted to do these things anyway, but like it feels like a dream. It feels like a whirlwind. It's almost as if it's not real. And it's all because I had the courage to choose myself. I finally chose myself. That relationship that I was in really held me back. And in the next episode, I'm going to discuss this because I'm going to talk about heartbreak and healing and all of that. So I'm just touching on it briefly. But it helped me to realize that I needed to grow and I needed to choose myself. I needed to do what Awa wanted to do because I was doing everything for everyone else. When I was in that relationship, I was doing everything to prove that I was worthy, to prove that I was a good woman, that I should be chosen. And to be honest, I'm not that kind of person. And it even shocks me that I take that back. I think I've grown up in an environment where I had to sort of protect myself. I had to be guarded, but not in like a hard way, but I had to sort of learn to, read people and to please them so that it didn't create chaos, so that I could show that I was worthy of love. And so in that aspect, I've always had that trait, but when it comes to other things, like say with friendships and everything else, I couldn't give a heck. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to be me. But I just like peace. I just like peace. I don't like problems. I will do anything to just maintain equilibrium, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, that relationship, I gave so much to it. I gave all of my energy and I didn't leave any for myself. And I was just drained. And I've done that all my life when it comes to family, friends, just, I just wanted peace and I just wanted to, I don't know, I guess in a way we do this because we want validation. We want to feel like we're worthy. We want to feel like we're important. And yeah, I gave so much to that. And I abandoned my music project. I abandoned my creativity. I was not doing anything creative because I was so focused on fluffing up this other person and making them feel worthy. And when that relationship ended, when I finally decided to walk away and choose myself, sure, it was painful. I was devastated. Girl, I could not eat. I could not sleep. I couldn't do anything. But I took myself out of that dark place. And that's a testament to my resilience and just me wanting to be a better person and me wanting to heal. And through that, I found my love when it comes to content creation. I found joy in it. It brought me so much peace and solace, and it was an outlet for me. And I'm just so glad I did it because I wouldn't have done it. I believe that had I stayed in that relationship, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I wouldn't be sitting here in front of a camera in this beautiful studio. I wouldn't be posting on TikTok. I wouldn't have worked with all of these brands that I've worked with. I wouldn't have had all of these opportunities had I not walked away and chosen myself. And I don't regret it. And like I said, it's come with its ups and downs. It has been, it's been difficult. But that's why I always say to people, it's so important for you to choose yourself. It's so important. I do not regret it. When you choose yourself, you will never regret it. And I think in the beginning I had guilt because I was like, well, everyone's going to say I'm selfish. Even moving out, leaving my siblings behind, not being there to support them physically, because I used to wake them up in the morning, get them ready for school, make their breakfast, do my sister's hair. Like I would take them to school sometimes, pick them up and all of that. Like I was doing so much. And then when I finally got my keys to my flat, the guilt that I felt, because I felt like I was being selfish. And I think when you think of the word selfish, it just has so many negative connotations. And of course, sometimes being selfish is a negative thing, but I think in this context, it wasn't. It was great. It was the best thing that I have ever done for myself. Same with me walking away from that relationship. Like I had to. I was not happy. So I don't regret it. And it has brought me so much joy and peace and blessings. And I wouldn't change it for the world. So yeah, that's pretty much the journey that I've been on. And it has truly been an amazing journey. Like, I think when I first began, I was just like, this is probably going to be short-lived. I might not continue with it. I may, give up because I'm an Aquarius. Like, we love starting projects and we don't finish them. But then I also got diagnosed with ADHD last year and I was like, that explains it. I get all these amazing, wonderful ideas and then I don't finish them. Like I have so many unfinished projects. Like I launched my own women's health community called Endo Sisters, which I have abandoned. My EP, I was like, on and off with it for years. Like, I started recording that EP in 2019. We are in 2025. Sis, what are you doing? So, I've started all these projects, but I haven't finished them. But that's also because I just wasn't in the best headspace. I realized that for the past 10 years of my life, or maybe even more, I have been in survival mode. I have been in fight or flight. Like, I've had to sort of juggle struggling with my mental health and being the eldest daughter and the sister, juggling uni, work, friendships, relationships, and just juggling everything as a whole, that it just didn't allow me to, commit to the things that I actually wanted to commit to, But, I think in the past year and a bit, I have worked a lot on myself. And that's because of therapy. That's because of being on antidepressants, if I'm being honest. And that's definitely something I want to speak about because I know that's such a taboo subject. And I was just so relieved when I finally put that out there on TikTok to say, hey, I wasn't doing so well. I had to go on antidepressants. And the amount of support, the amount of love, like the amount of people that were saying, this has like helped me to, not be so afraid of taking my medication or going to the GP and asking for support. Like, it just made me feel like I wasn't alone. But I've had to do the work. I think it's easy to see someone like myself come on social media and present themselves in this way. Like, obviously, I like to get glammed up. I like to look good. I share my life here and there and everything. I think when it comes to creating content, like, I'm very particular about my production style and like how I present myself online. But like, I think, I don't know, it's definitely been a journey. Like, I haven't always been like this. I haven't always been this confident, but I'm very open about that. Like, I don't want to sell a dream. I don't want anyone to think that, oh, she's confident, she doesn't care about whatever. And I don't care as much, but I still have my moments. But I'm just like, you know what? This is me. This is my authentic self. I'm going to share my life with the world. If it resonates with people, great. If it doesn't, then I'm not for you. I'm not going to force myself down anyone's throat. Do you get what I mean? I'm just here to be me, to exist, to whatever, I forgot the point that I was trying to make. Goodness gracious me, ADHD is something, isn't it? But the point is, like, it's been an amazing journey. It's been difficult at some points. As I said, like, post-breakup, I was a shell of myself. I was a shell of myself. It got to a point where I had to go and seek help. I was in therapy already, but I had to continue therapy. I went to my GP to put myself on antidepressants, which I'm still taking, and I do not regret it. Obviously, this is not me saying, hey, you need to go on antidepressants, like it's going to be the best thing ever. That's not always the case, right? In my situation, it has been a godsend. And I'm not going to say that I'll be on it forever. I don't know. But for now, it's helped me. I've used it as a tool to, in a way, I feel like it's sort of like helped me to rewire my brain. It's mellowed me out, because I think my issue before was that I was so all over the place. Like the chemicals in my brain were just so unbalanced. And in turn, it was just making me feel really down and really negative and lethargic and just feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness. And so I wasn't able to be myself. I wasn't able to do the things that I wanted to do. Whereas now that things are a bit more balanced and everything, I've used it as a tool to do the things that I actually want to do. And I think being on medication in combination with therapy has been amazing for me. And so, yeah, it's just helped me to like really spread my wings and grow and just do all the things that I've always wanted to do. And I'm not where I want to be, but I'm far from where I used to be. Who I am today compared to who I was even 6 months ago, totally different person. But who I am today compared to who I was post breakup, I don't even recognize myself, and in a good way. So that just shows you that sometimes you have to choose yourself. Not even sometimes, you should always choose yourself in this context. When it comes to being in an unhealthy, toxic relationship, or when you're at home in like a very volatile and difficult situation with your family. And, of course, like sometimes you have to tread lightly. Not everyone has it easy like that. Not everyone can escape. But I think if you do have the opportunity to do so, choose yourself. Choose yourself. I was always choosing other people. I never chose myself. It was weird. I was like, nah, I can't do this. I need to go back home. I have to support my siblings. I have to be there for my mum. Even though we had this very toxic and volatile relationship, I was like, oh, if I don't go back, if I don't support her, like my life is gonna turn upside down. And I think that comes from like the things that she used to say to me when I was young. And obviously now I recognize like she was going through her own stuff. She was hurting. Like I don't hold that against her. But I always had that in the back of my mind. I was like, oh, if I don't submit to my mum, if I don't do what she wants, like I'm not going to do well in life. And I think that's also a cultural thing as well. Like if you don't respect your parents, like God will punish you, basically. And so I had all of these fears. I was like, me doing this, like I'm not going to do well. I'm not going to do well. And because I had that fear, it lit a fire under my ass. I was like, I have to make this work. Because when I moved out, I had family members saying, oh, you need to stay home. You need to be there for your siblings. What are they going to do? What's your mum going to do? Or some people were saying, oh, she'll be back. It's not going to last. It lasted. Flips hair. It lasted because I had that resilience. And I've always been resilient. Like, sure, the universe likes to hold me by my neck and my singlet. The universe loves to put me through stuff. But I said, I'm not going to give up. And I didn't. Especially with my breakup, I said, I'm not going to let this get me down. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it sad. I'm going to cry through it. And trust me, I had days where like, I remember like, I used to work for TikTok, right? I was a content moderator and sometimes I'd work from home. And I think those first couple of months, I remember being at my desk and literally like typing and just breaking down in tears while I was doing my work because I had to. Bills had to be paid. And then there were times where I would always say to my friends, where I would sit in the dark and I would cry. I would wake up. I would go to bed crying. Or I'd go for a walk and I'd be in floods of tears. But I had to go through it. I had to work through it. Because if I didn't, my bills wouldn't have been paid. And I would have been in my head if I wasn't already, like I was already in my head. And I couldn't stop. I had to keep going. And that shows resilience. And I said to myself, like, I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to make sure that I get through this. And I did. I got a new job, which that's another one that I need to discuss at some point because that was a roller coaster as well. But I got a new job that was, better pay. It wasn't what I was looking for, but it was better than before. Again, content creation was taking off. I was trying to, see my friends more, work on my friendships, my relationships with people. Because one thing about me, I can be quite introverted. I'm a bit of a hermit. I like to be at home. I don't go out that much. Well, now I do. I try to, socialize more and go out more. But when I was in that relationship or even prior to it, like I was just always at home, especially like when I was living at home and looking after my siblings, like I didn't go out that much. So I missed out on a lot with my friends. Like I would still go out with them, but not as much. And so I think the breakup and just everything that I went through in 2023 just put so much into perspective because I think I was seeking validation and love in that relationship when I had it already. I had it from my friends and I had it within me, but I didn't realize. And I'm not saying that I never valued my friends, pre-relationship. I definitely did. one thing about me, I definitely made time for my friends when I was in that relationship. But of course, like when you get into a relationship with someone, you spend more time with them. But I did try to find a balance, which I'm glad that I did, because, you know, going through what I went through, imagine if I didn't make time for my friends and then I was alone post breakup. And then I come to my friends, oh, hey guys, by the way, nah, you know? But it allowed me to strengthen my relationships with my girls, and we're closer than ever. And I'm just so grateful for them. Like, they've been there for me through thick and thin. Like, they've supported me. Like, oh, like I'm just so grateful for my friends, not just the girls, the boys as well. Like, one thing about me, I've got friends of all walks of life. Like, I have so many different friends. Like, I didn't think I was a social butterfly. I think I can be quite like socially anxious and what have you, but once I warm up, I can talk to just about anyone. So, you know, I had so many friends who were there for me, who, you know, gave me advice, who supported me, who would check in, who would call me, you know. So I didn't feel alone. If anything, I think the loneliness came from, again, me moving out. I'd never lived alone. Like, I think the nighttime was the worst. It was like everything would come flooding in, not just, you know, the breakup stuff, but like adjusting to living alone. Like, it took me months to adjust. It took me months to be comfortable, to be, I don't know, to have peace in my mind. The thing is, I've always been independent, even at home. I was doing my own shopping, doing my own washing, cleaning, cooking. Like, everything was separate. I had my own stuff. I was always independent. So I knew that I would be okay when I moved out, but I had never had silence, if that makes sense. So the silence was deadly. It was scary. I was like, I'm so used to my mum shouting. I'm used to the kids arguing, crying, fighting and everything. I was just used to chaos. So when I moved out and, you know, when everything happened, being alone with my thoughts was terrifying. It was terrifying. And I won't lie to you, I had quite scary thoughts for a while. I did. But, you know, I got through it. I worked through it. I continued therapy. I continued, you know, to be honest, TikTok helped me a lot. Watching a lot of these like, therapists on TikTok and these like relationship gurus or trauma specialists and stuff like that. That content really helped me because I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about attachment styles, which is something that I knew about before because I did psychology when I was at sixth form. But learning more about like the different attachment styles and my own, which is a disorganized attachment style, which is a combination of avoidant and anxious, it helped me to understand myself more and the reactions and the feelings that I was experiencing. And I was like, oh, this is actually normal. I'm not weird, you know? So I just wanted to learn. I just had this thirst for knowledge. I just wanted to better myself as a human being and as a woman. I just wanted to be a better person. And I did the work. I came off dating apps, you know. Obviously I was on there a little bit and everything, but I came off the apps. I spent more time with my friends, my family. My relationship with my mum strengthened a lot. And again, that's definitely something I want to discuss on this podcast. I actually thought about like inviting her on. I don't think she would. I don't know if she would. Because the one thing about my mum and I don't think we'll ever be best friends, but I can talk to her now, like about certain things and like we check in and everything, which is really nice. We never used to. And I think us being under the same roof just was not healthy. It was not good for us. My mum's a Taurus, and if you know anything about Tauruses, they are stubborn. And I'm an Aquarius. Tauruses and Aquariuses, I'm not sure we get along. In that situation with my mum, it was like oil and water. But me moving out definitely strengthened our relationship. And so, yeah, like so many good things has come out of all of this and everything. And I'm just so grateful. And yeah, I did consider like getting her on, but I don't think she'll come on. So I ain't even gonna approach her with that. I feel like she still doesn't really understand what I do. She doesn't get it. And fair enough, she's of a different generation. Again, I think culturally as well. Gambians are very like reserved. They care a lot about what people think. And growing up, my mum would always say sutra, which means like sort of like keeping quiet, like keeping things to yourself, like sort of like, I think they're just so afraid of being perceived as well. Like they don't want anyone to know your business. So when I started posting on TikTok, especially when it comes to like being the eldest daughter and my mental health journey, she was like, she said, why would you? She would always say like, why do you need to talk about this sort of stuff online? And I was like, Mom, it's helping people. Like I'm not doing it to be famous. I'm not doing it to expose anyone. Like I just genuinely enjoy it. She said, But you know what? I think someday she'll understand, well, if she doesn't, it's okay. Like I said, I'm not doing it for any sort of notoriety or fame or what do I gain from that? Like for me, it's literally just like an outlet. It's, in a way, it's me offloading. It's me just getting it off my chest and putting it into the universe, like letting go. I see it in a spiritual sense, and also it's helping other people. And one thing about me, I've just always been that person that wants to help people. Like, and I mean that. Who you see online, who you see here is exactly how I am in person. Like I have never felt the need to be anything other than Awa. And that's just that, So that's the journey that I've been on. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful to be here because at some point I didn't think I was worthy of life, which really breaks my heart. Whenever I think about it, I tear up because I'm just like, I didn't deserve to feel that way. And I never, ever, ever want to feel that way ever again. And I've worked so hard to make sure that I'm in a more grounded and solid place. And I'm a human being. I have my days. Trust me, I have days where I am not in the mood, where I'm not feeling it, where I'm just not myself. But, I found better ways to cope and to navigate those emotions and those feelings. And it has taken a long time. It has taken a long time. I know some people DM me and they ask me, how do you get through this? Like, how do I do this? And I'm just like, I'm no guru. I've had to fail in order to get here. I've had to fight. I've cried. I've been angry. I've lost myself in this process. But sometimes you have to lose yourself to find yourself. And I found myself and I found something that I truly, truly enjoy. And if this is it for me, I'm happy. I'm content. I don't need to go to Hollywood. I don't need to be the biggest star in the world. If this is it, I'm content. And that's all I've ever wanted. And again, like I said, that is just a testament to my character and my resilience and my thirst for life. Because at some point I didn't have that. And that breaks my heart. And so I sit here today to show people that you can get through it. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it just came to me like that because it really didn't. Things do not come to me on a silver platter, unfortunately. There are some people who that happens for. Life just gives them everything that they desire. But I've now changed my mindset. I've changed my approach to these things. And I'm very good at manifesting. I have been able to manifest such amazing things, but you can't just manifest and not do the work. I've been doing the work. I've been working on myself. I've been holding myself accountable. And I think a lot of people are afraid of accountability. I've never been afraid of accountability. When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. When I need to work on myself, I say I need to work on myself. And I still do. There are things that I still need to work on. But I know that I'll get there. Life is a journey. You're not going to have it all figured out straight away. And I used to think that I should. But I thought about it and I was like, life would be boring if I had it all figured out. So this is just how it is. Acceptance is key. And I say this all the time on my TikTok. I've learned how to accept. Sometimes I struggle. There are certain things I'm like, you did me like that. But at some point, I'll accept it, So, yeah, that's my journey in a nutshell. I feel like I've just been, waffling, but that's the point of a podcast, This is my testimony, one could say. But I'm in a good place. I can't complain. Like, sure, there are things that I desire and things that I want, and places that I would like to be at. And I'll get there. I will. I didn't think that I would be here. Take that however you will. But I didn't think that I would be in a position where I'm happy and smiling and independent and like doing so well for myself. That's why I said it feels like a dream. It feels like a dream, but it's reality and you can get there. And that's what I say to people, like, just keep pushing, keep fighting. It's not easy. You can't have growth without pain. And I always relate this to like growing pains. When you're growing up, like your legs hurt, your back hurts, even as a girl, your boobs hurt because things are growing. So unfortunately, that is part of the fact of life. We're just going to experience pain. And I know a lot of people don't like it. Trust me, I don't. I really struggled with change as well. I'm someone, God, I was comfortable with what I knew. I didn't like the unknown. I didn't like change. I liked being in my comfort zone. But again, 2023 was a pivotal year for me where I learned to just accept that things change all the time. I had this vision for myself. I was in this relationship and I said, yep, this is my person. This is how life is going to be here on out. And like that, within a second, everything changed. The reality that I had painted for myself was no more. And accepting that and swallowing that pill, it was hard. But life changes all the time and it changes for the better. I know sometimes, shit things happen and we're like, no, this is not how I, wrote it. This is not how I anticipated things to go. You can't control it. As much as like I wanted to control everything, I wouldn't say I'm a control freak, but it's an anxiety thing. As much as I thought I had it all figured out, I thought, yes, this is how my life is going to go. By 25, I'm going to do this. 27, I'm going to be engaged. 28, I'm going to have my first kid. Am I not sitting here in front of you guys today at the age of 27, childless, with no ring? That's fine. But back then, I didn't think it was. But you have to learn to let go and you have to learn to accept. And the past year and a half, 2 years, I've learned so much about acceptance and letting go. And when you let go, you free yourself from all these things. Sure, I still have anxieties. I still have things that I like beat myself up over, but I'm able to process it in a different way now. I'm like, you know what? It's for the best. That relationship ending was for the best. It had to happen. Me moving out was for the best. Me not getting that job, it was for the best. Everything always works in your favor. I know it doesn't feel like it. It didn't feel like it for me. I was like, who did I offend? I remember I would always say, I was like, did I offend somebody? Has someone put like a curse on my life? No. This is just how the universe works. Sometimes it's unfair, but you shouldn't see it in that way. And now I try my best to think positively. And I tell myself, everything always works out for me. And that has been such a powerful saying or mantra, whatever you want to call it. I just, now whenever I'm panicking, I'm like, you know what? Everything always works out for me. And then I'm able to calm myself down. And everything has worked out. Listen, the blessings that came my way when I chose myself. Honestly, I wish I could like do some sort of like sermon or speech or whatever. I know I'm not religious, but like, this is literally my testimony. Like the blessings that have come my way. And at some point, I need to talk about my like journey with like my, previous job and everything that happened with that. It felt like it was the worst thing that had happened to me. Because I lost my job towards the end of last year, basically. I didn't speak about it on my TikTok because I need to figure out like how to touch on the subject. But it happened under really shit circumstances. And I won't say too much at the moment, but I just wasn't treated very nicely. And it happened during a very difficult time when I was recovering from surgery. And it was towards the end of the year where everyone's trying to wind down. You know, you're going to go into January, you're waiting for your pay for like 5-6 weeks. And I lost my job. I didn't think it was going to happen. But the blessings, the blessings that are rolled in afterwards, that's how I know a higher power exists. Like I said, I'm not religious. I still take things from religion and I respect religion. But I'm more of a spiritual person. And I've always believed in a higher power. I've always believed in the universe. And I always believe that when you carry yourself with purity and authenticity, everything always works out. And that's exactly what happened to me. So I will touch on that in another episode. But yeah, this is my testimony, guys. Like, please don't give up on yourself. Keep pushing. Your time will come. Things will get better. I promise you. I know it doesn't feel like it because trust me, when I was young, especially in my early teens, I would sit in my room and I would cry. I would like be in floods of tears to the point where I would have a panic attack. I would worry about the future. I would worry about whether I would even make it to 25. And the fact that I'm 27, like, it's weird because I always told myself, I don't know if I'm going to make it because I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle life. And I did because I kept fighting. I kept pushing. I kept persevering. Listen, life has thrown rocks at my head, you know. This has not been an easy journey. And this is why I'm creating this podcast, because I want to speak about this stuff. Like, I'm not afraid to be open about it. Because don't see me as this beautiful, you know, put together woman. I am. But the things that I have been through in my life and how I've been able to overcome it, even I'm shocked. It feels like the Truman Show. I'm waiting for someone to come out with a camera to be like, oh yeah, it's just a prank. Literally. So let my story inspire you. I'm not where I want to be just yet. I'm planning world domination, you know. This isn't it for me. I pray that my podcast does really well. I've always wanted my own like radio show, or I want my own like late night show. I've been dreaming about it and I've even got the name. I was like, because my name is Awa, I want it to be the late night hour or something, you know, like I just want my own talk show. I want to interview guests. I want it to be a place where they feel comfortable. You know, like I just want to do everything, basically. But where I'm at right now, I'm in a good place. So yeah, that's my testimony. Right, so next up on the agenda, because we got to wrap it up, there's a segment that I want to introduce called the glow tip of the week, where I give you guys tips to sort of like help you glow up, help you feel better about yourself. So the tip that I wanted to give was to do with taking time out for yourself each day. So even if it's just 5-10 minutes to do something that you enjoy or to just like wind down is very, very vital for your well-being. Now, I'm not the best at doing this, but I did say like coming into the new year that I definitely want to incorporate this into my daily routine, whether it's me doing like skincare or listening to a song, because I like to listen to songs on repeat. So if I listen to like a 3-4 minute song, repeat that. Or just something each day. Go outside, touch grass, breathe air. Just do something for yourself every day. Minimum 10 minutes at least. Or half an hour, go for a walk, you know? There's a really lovely park near where I live. And I really want to start going for a walk there and just like clear my head. And a few weeks ago, I took my godfather around there because there's like a really nice like herb section and whatever. And I've been raving about this park since I moved. And I was like, yeah, you've got to come. So we went for a walk and there was like this sort of like abandoned tower and everything. And I've known him ever since I was like, I think 2. Because like I said, he was our neighbor. So he lived upstairs and me and my mum lived downstairs. And the funny story is, so we're from Gambia and he came in one day and my mum said like she was just going out to throw the bin or something, and she's like, oh hey, I'm so and so, and he was like, hey, well, whatever. And he was like, oh, I just got back from Gambia. And my mum said, huh? I'm from Gambia. And so that's how, we sort of became family and everything. And he's been in my life ever since. And he means so much to me. Like, he honestly was my peace when everything was chaotic, at home with my mum. And he introduced me to such creative things like music, and like he would buy me paints and everything. And I'd go upstairs to escape, and I would paint and everything. So yeah, we went for a walk and it was really nice. And I was like, you know what? I need to do this more, because it helped to ground me, because I was feeling very anxious that day. But then we went for a walk for like an hour and it felt really good. And so I was like, you know what? I want to incorporate this into my podcast, the segment Glow Tip of the Week. So my tip is take at least 10 minutes for yourself each day. Do something nice for yourself, whether it's like even indulging in your favorite chocolate. Who cares? You're here to live. You're here for a good time, So whether it's skincare, having your favorite snack, listening to music, going for a walk, hanging out with your girls, at least take some time to do what you love or to surround yourself with people that you love. So that's my glow tip for the week. So to wrap up the episode, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all of the support. Like, I am just so grateful for all the people who have been championing me, supporting me, like encouraging me to keep going, to actually launch this podcast. Because one thing about me, I get in my head, but I was like, no, I want to do this because it's nice to know that people value my opinion. People actually want to listen to me. People want to support me, and I'm just so grateful. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who has supported me on this journey, who has followed me from the beginning when I had barely any followers and whatever. And like I said, I don't care for notoriety or attention in that regard or anything. For me, it's just about creating a safe space for people and actually talking about difficult things, So yeah, I just want to say thank you, and I hope you enjoy this journey and this podcast. And please, please, please tune in, because I'm going to try my best to keep being consistent. I've definitely, made a vow to myself that I will continue. I will keep going no matter what. Even if I have one viewer, it's cool. It's fine. Welcome to the party. So yeah, I'm excited for the next episodes. Next episode, I'm going to dive into heartbreak, my healing journey and my breakup. And I'll even touch on limerence as well, because I know a lot of people want me to talk about that. So yes, definitely stay tuned for that. I'm actually going to film that next, because your girl's got to be efficient here. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to have new episodes every Thursday, so you can listen on any platform that you listen to your podcasts on. Of course, I'm going to have the visuals on my YouTube channel. Everything will be linked. Don't you worry, I got you. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and I cannot wait to share more stories with you and to invite people on and just create this community, That's what By the Hour is all about. It's about creating a community, creating a safe space, and just being unapologetically me. So yeah, that's it for today's episode, and I hope you enjoyed. And please don't forget to give me a rating. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want me to talk about. If you have any dilemmas, any stories, please send them in at bythehour@gmail.com. So I definitely want to answer some dilemmas. I want to help you guys with any issues that you have, because I feel like I'm very good at giving advice. So don't hesitate to email me or DM me on Instagram, TikTok. I was about to say Twitter. Sorry, X. I hate that name, but just reach out to me and I'll help you out, But yeah, that's it for today's episode. And please like, comment, and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. Share it with your friends. Let them know that there's a new podcast on town. Hey, God. Let them know that there's a new podcast in town, and it's a different one, I hope. It's just me on my own, solo dolo, being myself, creating a safe space for you and for me. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. That's a wrap, babe. Keep glowing, stay true, and always be unapologetically you. See you guys.